This video will discuss some of the updates and improvements that have been made to the Shear tab and double angle connections in VAConnect version 7. Let's get started. In VAConnect 7, Shear tabs can now be designed with 2 columns of bolts at the web of the beam. This will allow you to significantly increase the capacity of these connections to accommodate larger loads. 2 additional example projects that follow the AISC example problems have been added for the Shear tab connection, highlighting this change. Note, double angle connections bolted to the web of the beam can now also be designed with 2 columns of bolts. When 2 columns of bolts are used and the connection is loaded in tension, failure along the Whitmore section is considered for both the tension yield and tension ruptured limit states. Failure along the Whitmore section is not considered when the Whitmore section extends past the flanges of a non-coped beam. In this case, tension rupture is considered taking into account the shear lag factor. When the beam is singly coped and the Whitmore section falls off of the web of the beam, VAConnect conservatively takes the Whitmore section as a reduced Whitmore section with an effective width that is balanced along the work line rather than accounting for an eccentrically loaded Whitmore section. This Whitmore section methodology has also been applied to double angle connections welded to the web of the beam and loaded in tension. Per a customer request, the bolt group capacity limit state for bolts that are eccentrically loaded has been improved to provide capacities that are more accurate and less overly conservative. This limit state applies to both the shear tab and double angle connections. In previous versions of the program, the capacity of the bolt with the minimum clear distance was used for all of the bolts in the connection when the bolt group was eccentrically loaded. This could lead to quite conservative results when only a few of the bolts in the connection were close to an edge. Now the capacity of each bolt is calculated based on its own clear distance, and the limit state capacity is calculated by summing the capacity of each bolt, which is the minimum of shear, tear out, and bearing, and multiplying that sum by the coefficient for eccentrically loaded bolt groups divided by the total number of bolts. This methodology comes from the companion to the AISE Steel Construction Manual Volume 1, Example 2.A-17A. Note, when the shear tab has a conventional configuration and is loaded purely in shear, the tear-out clear distance, LC, is taken assuming the reaction is applied concentrically, as allowed in Part 10 of the AISE Steel Construction Manual. If the shear tab has axial load or does not have a conventional configuration, the tear-out clear distance, LC, is conservatively taken as the smallest possible value for each bolt. The 16th edition of the AISE Steel Construction Manual contains a new section called Part 12, which is for the design of simple connections for combined forces. This new section states that single plate connections subject to shear and axial force should be designed with eccentricity E, where E is defined from the distance of the support to the centroid of the bolt group. Therefore, the eccentricity is no longer reduced for shear tabs with a conventional configuration in the load combinations where axial load is present. In VAConnect 7, while the block shear interaction equation and the axial, shear, and flexure interaction equations have not changed, their references have been updated to Part 12 of the Steel Construction Manual rather than referencing the AISE Steel Construction Manual version 15 design examples. Finally, Part 10 of the 16th edition of the AISE Steel Construction Manual now states that a bolt spacing of 3 inches is a dimensional limitation for a shear tab to have a conventional configuration. Therefore, if we adjust the bolt row spacing to a value other than 3 inches, the connection will be designed as having an extended configuration. We hope you find these updates and improvements to the Shear tab and double angle connections useful. Thanks for watching and have a great day.